If you've ever said, "I just don't have the genetics to build muscle," you need to stop. That's not a diagnosis, it's just an excuse. We live in a fitness culture that obsesses with the idea that certain people are gifted, while others are doomed to having a poor physique. Yes, genetics can influence your bone structure, muscle insertions, and how easily you gain mass or lose fat. But here's the truth: genetics don't determine your results, your training and dedication does. And for most people, their training is the real problem. First, yes, genetics do play a role in muscle growth. Some people are naturally more muscular. Some have longer muscle bellies, better leverages, more responsive hormone profiles, or higher testosterone levels. Others may gain fat more easily or struggle with recovery. But here's the truth no one wants to admit: even average genetics can build an impressive physique. The range of what's possible for most people is far greater than what most ever achieve. In fact, research shows that with consistent resistance training, most beginners can gain 15 to 25 pounds of muscle in their first few years. That's enough to radically change your physique. But what most people overlook is this: their genetic ceiling is incredibly high. Most lifters never come anywhere close to their true potential, not because their DNA is flawed, but because their execution is inadequate. The problem? Most people never even get close to that because they're not doing the right things consistently. Blaming genetics is easy. It removes responsibility and gives you a way out when progress stalls. It lets you point to your body type, your metabolism, as the reason you don't look like that guy on Instagram who's been lifting for 6 years. If you've never stuck to a well-structured program for longer than 8 weeks, never tracked your lifts, or never pushed yourself close to failure, how would you even know if genetics are the issue? Now let's talk about the real issue: your training sucks. And I don't mean you're not working hard. I mean you're making fundamental mistakes that sabotage growth before it even starts. Here's what that usually looks like. 1. Training for ego, not tension. You're chasing big numbers, not big muscles. You throw around weight with poor form just to feel strong. But muscle doesn't care how much you lift, it only responds to how much tension you place on it. 2. Poor exercise selection. You're doing 15 variations of biceps curls and skipping compound lifts. Or you're copying some influencer's random intensity workout with zero structure or progression. 3. Inconsistent programming. You change workouts every week. You skip leg day. You train your chest 3 times a week and your back once. Muscle growth thrives on structured, repeated stimulus, not chaos. 4. No progressive overload. You're lifting the same weight for the same reps week after week. Your muscles have no reason to grow because you're not forcing them to adapt. Without progression, you're just exercising, not training. 5. Terrible recovery. You sleep 5 hours a night. You don't eat enough protein. You're in a constant calorie deficit trying to get shredded without building anything first. If you're not recovering, you're not growing. Muscle hypertrophy is a biological process. It doesn't care about your feelings or self-limiting beliefs. It responds to specific stimuli, and if you provide that consistently, you will grow. Let's simplify what actually builds muscle. Mechanical tension, the #1 driver of growth. This comes from lifting loads that challenge the muscle through a full range of motion, especially during the eccentric, lowering phase. Progressive overload. You must give the muscle a reason to adapt. That means increasing weight, reps, sets, or control over time. Small improvements over weeks add up. Sufficient volume. Research suggests you need about 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle group per week to maximize growth, depending on training experience. Effort close to failure. If you're stopping your sets when it just starts to burn, you're nowhere near failure. You need to be within 1 to 2 reps of technical failure for most of your working sets. Recovery. Sleep 7 to 9 hours. Eat enough protein, approximately 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Be in a calorie surplus if you want to gain. Rest between sets and between sessions. Growth happens outside the gym, not just in it. If you're not doing these 5 things with consistency, intensity, and intention, you have no business blaming genetics. Let's be honest with ourselves. It feels good to blame genetics. It gives you a way out. A reason to justify why your physique hasn't changed. A shield against the reality that maybe, you haven't been doing things right. But there's real freedom in ownership. Once you stop making excuses and start attacking your weak points, you'll realize that the limits you've set for yourself were never genetic. They were mental. If you learned something in this video or just like building muscle, make sure to smash that subscribe button.